Yo, what's up, guys? We got our draft analysis for the PSBF, the Pokemon Showdown Battle Frontier. This is actually a league I created myself. It's a 16-team tiered GBA style draft, and it was a lot of fun thinking about making this team. A funny story is during draft day I got called into work, so man, drafting, I had to get someone to draft for me, and then I came in midway and got about 2 picks in before my phone died. So like getting the team was annoying because of all the last minute real life stuff, but it ended up working out because I didn't get really sniped. My end game plan kind of backfired, but I'll get more into that later. So my first pick, I knew off the bat what I wanted and what I wanted to kind of base this around, and that's the Bugdon Mega Scizor. Look at these stats: 150 attack, 140 defense, 70 HP, which isn't too bad, and even 100 SPDF. So this thing's defense is a great to go along with a great attack stat and a great ability and technician. So he's also got a lot of moves to take advantage of technician, like bullet punch and pursuit, knockoff, things like that. So Scizor was definitely what I wanted to base my draft around. This thing can set up on a lot of mons. It's a fairy killer. It's a dragon, nice dragon counter. It just gives you so much in one mon. It only has one weakness in fire, which I kind of based the rest of my draft around, kind of making sure that even that weakness isn't really that big of a weakness. With that 100 SPDF, it can take weak HP fires and then just knock things out. So yeah, I was pretty hyped to be able to get this first round. I picked 14. We randomized 2 times, and both times I was the 14th pick. So didn't get the wheel, and I didn't get a nice early pick to get something like, you know, Tapu Koko or Tapu Lele or anything like that. Anyways, my next pick, I knew right off the bat what I wanted, and it pairs pretty good with Scizor actually. And with this new gen, it got a nice buff. So that mon I'm talking about is Salamence. This dude is a beast. He was already a beast before this gen, but now with the addition of Z crystals, this thing is ridiculous. It also has 2 really good abilities in Intimidate and Moxie, and one of the main things about Ments is like those Jirachis and like those Lucarios and like those Vitinis, you don't know what he's gonna be. He's got a base 110 special attack and a special move pool out of this world. It's Hydro Pump, it's Ice Beam, but it gets Hydro Pump, it gets Fire Blast, it gets Thunderbolt. It doesn't get that, but it gets some really moves. It gets Draco, of course. So Ments was a kind of a no-brainer. I was thinking about going with Dragonite, but Dragonite doesn't get Moxie, doesn't get Intimidate. It doesn't have have the same speed tier as Ments, and Ments is also a defog. So I already have 2 defoggers without even really trying. My third pick, I kind of got scoffed at a lot by some of my people in my league, because there's a couple people from my Pokemon league in this league. So my third pick was Pelagod. Pelipper was my third pick. Now a lot of people are like, dude, rain again? Come on. This isn't a rain team. Now you can call it semi-rain if you want, but the goal of this team isn't rain. It's to build around Mega Scizor. And like I said, Mega Scizor's only weakness is to fire. Pelipper complements that very well. He's a fire resist, and he gets up the rain, which makes Scizor a lot more safe. He also has a really nice 100 defense, an acceptable 95 special attack, so if I want to run offensive, and he just was there to get up the ring. He's also another defogger. He's also another U-turn user. So I have a nice U-turn core to get into my big threats. So next was a little bit more of a niche pick, a pick that I didn't have to get right away. But if I knew, since I had someone drafting for me and I couldn't see the board at all times, I knew if I didn't pick this right now, it would not be back. It would not be on the board. So the mine I decided to go with here was Decidueye. Now Decidueye is a really good Pokemon. With he has base 107 attack, 100 speed attack, 100 special defense, and 70s, around 70s and everything else. So he's pretty good. In my opinion, he's the second best starter from this gen. Some people think he's the best, but Primarina is just, he's more versatile than Primarina, and in league format you can definitely give the edge to Decidueye. But the reason I got Decidueye is because he is another U-turner, another defogger. If you didn't notice, the first 4 mons on my team are defogers. I have a defogger. My first 4 mons, they all get defogged. So that's pretty good. Hazards will never be a problem. I could bring it on anything. But the thing is, his things move. It gets baton pass, which is going to be great. Baton passing things like Swords Dance into Scizor, so he doesn't have to set up, or Swords Dance into Mence, a Scarf Mence. If you pass a Swords Dance to Scarf Mence, just pack it up. It's over. It's gonna be game over. Like, just SD, baton pass, Mence, click Earthquake if they have a Steel. If they don't, click Dragon Move and just sweep. Just sweep. It's gonna be ridiculous. Or Nasty Plot. He learns Nasty Plot. You can pass that to somebody, or you can use it himself. He has he's a great trapper with Spirit Shackle. And Spirit Shackle, I'm expecting to use that move quite often. Yeah, so he also has priority in Sucker Punch. So this mon, I knew I couldn't get him anywhere later than this. So now was where things started to be starting to try to pull things together. If you noticed, my ice resist is only Scizor, and Pelipper is actually an ice weak if they have freeze dry, so I definitely needed to patch up my ice weakness. So I decided to go with something that not only served as an ice weakness, but it served as a very good pair for things like Scizor and Salamence, and that was Magneton. I went with Magneton with a pick because Magneton traps those annoying steel types that Scizor doesn't like dealing with. Because once those guys are out of the way, Scizor can just clean house. Not just that, he threatens out bulky water types that Scizor also doesn't like. So both Decidueye and Magneton deal with the water types that Scizor doesn't want to deal with. Magneton has a nice base 120 special attack, pretty good defense, decent speed. But the main thing about Magneton is its typing. You know, it gives me nice resist to grass, to ice, to rock, fairy. It's nice to. Now again, it does have that 4x weak to ground, but you know, with Mint and Pelipper and Decidueye, that's not a problem. Weak to fire, but again, with Mint and Pelipper. So I have 3 fire weeks, but again, with the rain and the rest of my team, fire is not that big of a deal. The main thing with this mon is Magnet Pull, but it can also get Sturdy or Analytic. You can run it either choice item. You could run it Eviolite. So I really like Magneton. And in the rain, it just clicks Thunder. It also, I just get U-turn as well. No, that's okay. Yeah, Thunder in the rain is just pretty cool. The board, next pick, I decided to go with Rain Abuser. I also wanted to get a Dark Resist. So I was like, what can I get here? What can I get here? I can get Toxicroak. A Toxicroak is a really good Pokemon. I've been wanting to get Toxicroak in my other leagues as well, but I just haven't had the room. Now it is another ground league, but again, like I said, I have 3 very good ground resist / immunities, so that wasn't too big of a deal. This thing gives me a really good dark resist, a water immunity when I have dry skin, and it also gives me a very strong attacker and a fairy counter. Now, depending on the fairy, something like I'm not going to be able to take on a Mega Diancie or anything, but usually I can just threaten out all fairies with Poison Stab, and that's when things can get fun, because this thing gets Bulk Up, it gets Swords Dance, it gets Drain Punch, it gets, of course, Poison Jab and Gunk Shot, but, you know, it could also be a sub Pokemon. So that's nice, and its base 86 special attack's not bad, and its special move pool is nice. So I can run this thing as a special attacker, as a physical attacker, as just a bulk up user, a Swords Dance sweeper. This thing is nice, and in draft format with bulky waters being such a key component, I just really think this Pokemon is going to help the team shine. You find your target, you set up, and that could seriously be it. Now, another thing about this is it kind of opens up teams. You know, it kind of bops the walls. It 2-hit KOs Mega Venusaur after Stealth Rocks. If it's the mixed it with the defensive leaning set, gets 2-hit KO'd after Stealth Rocks. It 2-hit KOs things like Vaporeon and Milotic, but those things were never really a threat anyway. So bulky water types that Salamence and Scizor kind of want gone, this thing really threatens out. So that was my next pick. I went with Toxicroak. So now you look at the team, you see fire is kind of annoying, but again, I'm playing rain, so nah, but still, fire is still annoying. So what do I take with my next pick? So we're gonna go look. I went with Seismitoad. Now again, I've had Seismitoad in my other league as well, and Seismitoad is a very good fire resist, but his main thing is you can run him defensive, especially defensive, or because I have rain, I can run him offensive. He's got 95 attack, 85 special attack, pretty decent speed at 74, but he's got a good move pool in knockoff, drain punch, sludge wave, poison jab, earthquake, earth power, you know. So this thing has a really good move pool, but it also is a good stealth rocker. If you look back at my first part of the draft, I didn't have a single stealth rocker, not one. But I had like 5 defoggers. I had 4 defoggers. So yeah, this thing is really nice. It gets access to Grass Knot and Focus Blast. The move pool is really nice on Seismitoad. So I decided to go with Seismitoad. It also gives me a fire resist. And if I'm not running rain, it gives me a water resist in Water Absorb. If it's annoying Pokemon, annoying walls, I also get Poison Touch. I don't think I'd ever use that, but it's still nice. Okay, so next, I got another fire resist. But that wasn't the main point of this mon. I went with Archeops to get a little bit of to get another flying type. It offers another ground resist. It offered speed, something my team was kind of lacking, just natural speed. Base 110 is good. It speed ties with things like Lottie, but I threaten Lottie with things like U-turn and Pursuit. It also, like, no item acrobatics is strong. Choice banded. You could run things like the Rock Plate, or Sky Plate. Things like Power Herb, Sky Attack. So Archeops is nice. It's really strong. Base 140 attack is really good. 112 special attack is pretty good, so you can run it either way. The one thing about it again is that ability to coincide with 65-65 is not very good, but it gets taunt, it gets a defog, so it's my fifth defog. I have 5 ways to remove hazards, 6 if you include the next Pokemon. So yeah, Archeops. Nothing much to say about this thing. Okay, so my next Pokemon was Kabutops. Now, Kabutops is one of the only Pokemon I drafted to actually abuse Rain. With 80 base speed, this thing outspeeds Scarfers up to 112, I believe. Like Scolipede, with the speed boost, outspeeds this. So I think it outspeeds up to like 112. So that's nice, gives me some speed. Great attack stat and dual stab in water and rock. So this thing is real nice to just put pressure on teams. Like Choice Banded Kabutops just has so few switch-ins. And I forgot to mention my Z captain is Salamence. So that's unfortunate that I can't use Continental Crush on this. Because as you've seen from like my Rain Live, Continental Crush SD is just a really nice set. But that's fine, I don't have to, because this thing's move pool is really good. It gets moves like, it gets, where is it? It gets Hone Claws for set. I don't think I'm going to use Hone Claws. But it gets Knockoff, it gets Low Kick, it gets Spin. You can run a Rock Polish set. So like Life Orb Rock Polish to kind of sweep any weakened teams. It also gets, of course, Stealth Rock if I need another rocker. I probably won't be running this as my rocker because it's kind of lackluster SPDF and HP, and its defensive typing is pretty poor. It's weak to grass and fighting and ground and electric, so I'm not going to be able to set up rocks against very much. But it also gets things like Superpower, things like that to deal with steel types that think they can just come in on it. So this was my Swift Swim user. Let me see what his other is. Battle Armor is meh. Weak Armor is meh. Okay. So at this point in the draft, we are in round 10 now. And again, as I said, since I didn't have the ability to pick my own draft, and I'm kind of like dependent on I don't know the board. We get to round 10 and it's time to pick a fairy. There's nothing left. I'm serious, there's almost nothing left. Clef, Azumarill, Sylveon. The Tapus went round 1, of course. Florges, Togekiss, everything is gone. There's no fairies. And I'm like, Jesus. My plan, since I didn't really want a tier 1, was to take a fairy from tier 1, like Clef, and then get like Bisharp from tier 2 as my dark type. But alas, that plan fell through. So I had to take what's the best available thing, which is this or Whimsicott or Primarina. And I was thinking about Primarina, but I felt this Pokemon was a good support to the team, and that was Gardevoir. Now Gardevoir is a Pokemon I went into the draft feeling I can take. I didn't mind taking it, but I really wanted something else. Gardevoir has good special attack and good special defense, decent speed, but its defense and HP stats are just so mediocre. This thing gets KO'd by weak priority moves. It also doesn't offer me a dark resist, something that I really could use. I could really use a dark resist, but alas, she does not offer me a dark resist. But she does offer me an amazing move pool and good ability and good special attack. So this thing can be a wall breaker, it could be a sweeper, it can be a support. This thing's move pool is the reason I decided to draft it over Primarina. It gets Calm Mind, it gets Trick, it gets Memento, it gets Healing Wish. 4 really good moves that really help this team. I trick them on their setup fodder for one of my 5 setup mons. I think I have 5. So I trick them an item. Now they're locked into a move and they're setuping. Or if I Memento, the mon is setuping. If I Healing Wish back into a mon that's like a Mence, if I can go Mence early, beat down on something, and then Healing Wish it back with Guard, that's awesome. So Guards, it also gets Dual Screen. Deflect, and it gets Light Screen. So it gets Dual Screen, so it can be a screener. And it also gets Blow-Wisp and Thunder Wave. So this mine, it got great utility. And then it also got, I didn't have a Psychic type. I've got like 3 or 4 water types, but no Psychic types. So I decided to go Guard. I'm not sure if it's gonna last, but it's definitely something I was willing to try out. And with my last pick, oh my goodness, this mon is good, but it just wasn't needed. It was my reasoning behind it. It wasn't a mon that I felt was necessary. It was kind of like a luxury pick, but as the same thing with the fairies was the same thing with my last pick. The tier 1 was bone dry. By this time, I was thinking about round 10 to take it too, but it was still the same thing, bone dry. I think the mons left were Sugimori, Keldeo, Necrozma, Raikou, Starmie. Yeah, a Volcanion would have been nice, but it didn't really offer me anything more to my team. So yeah, I'm looking. Latios and Latios were still on the board, so that's something I was considering, and something I'm still considering right now. But I felt this mon gave me another Stealth Rocker, and it also gives me some speed. If you look, I only have 2 mons with base speed tier 100 or higher. So the last mon I decided to go with was Nihilego. Now another reason I went with Nihilego over Lati was because Nihilego is a new Pokemon. I have very little experience with Nihilego. So I decided, let's give this thing a try. It's got Beast Boost, so it can really sweep a team. It helps me deal with things like Gyarados, which my team besides like Seismitoad, Gyarados could be a problem. But Nihilego gives me nice speed, excellent SPDF and special attack, and good HP. The only niche to this thing is its defense is absolutely terrible. It is awful. 47. 47. Terrible. Absolutely awful. It probably can get like killed from a bullet punch from like a fucking Aron or some stuff like that. It's just a terrible defensive stat. But it is another rocker and also gets Toxic Spikes. It is the fastest Pokemon with access to both hazards. It also has, like I said, Beast Boost. It also has some pretty good moves in Dual Stab and Sludge Wave and Power Gem. It also gets Psychic, so things like Venusaur can't really check this thing. It gets Side Shock. It gets Reflect and Light Screen. It also gets Thunder and Thunderbolt. So that's really nice to hit some Steel types if I have to, or to hit Water types. But, you know, Thunderbolt and Thunder only do a little bit more than Sludge Wave. It also gets Thunder Wave. So again, I can go full Scumbag, Sash, Lead, Thunder Wave, Rocks, Dual Stab. So it also gets like things like Acid Spray and things like that. So Nihilego was another niche pick. It just wasn't very much left. That 4x weakness to ground, but if you look, I've got plenty of ground immunities or resist. I don't know. I think I like my team a lot. I do. The end game didn't work out as planned. I literally did not get sniped. If I can show you, this is literally verbatim the draft list I wrote out. Now again, towards the end of the draft, I wanted to get a tier 1 fairy and get something else from tier 2. But I really like this draft because my offensive core of Mence, Toxicroak, and Scizor is really offensively threatening, and then my defensive core of Mence, Scizor, and Gardevoir are pretty stable, and it can take hits from about anything. So I'm excited for this. We're gonna see how it works out. I'm gonna be having a team builder for my week 1 opponent pretty soon, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.